Jack answered me and soon to away. In a short time the children started coming. Wasn't long before they numbered number 10.
We lost when he was only 10 years old. Then came Don, Willard, Max, and Sister Ollie. Then the Carl and Carol made up the fold. All knew that their door was always open. The in-laws, outlaws, hobos, or good friends, all were welcome, fed and warm by the fire. And if needed, man would even wash and mend. Chauncey was a lumberjack and farmer, small in stature, but no one could outdo. Played harmonica and danced to entertain us, while we all sat outside our little church pew.
I can see the letters whatever blew a horn, and the old rocking car was wagging around the place with miles go.
Back around.
Oh, yeah, take a look. Oh, oh. I can't get it. Anyway.
Yeah, but we've heard it, we've heard it.
Cowboy, my gun at my hip. Many a man has bit the dust because he made a slip. When the sun was slowly setting and the rays growing dim, I always come and check what's right before the sun goes in. And I can't yodel.
Really? Yeah. All right.
Check should be on their way.
Here we go. Well, it's Bud the Spud from the bright red mud deep rolling down the highway smiling. Yeah, the Spuds are big on the back of Bud's rig. They're from Prince Edward Island. They're from Prince Edward Island. Yeah, from Charlottetown or from Summerside. He loads them down for the big long ride. He jumps in the cab and he's off with the prize potatoes. You gotta catch the boat to make Vermintine. Yes, he hits up that old New Brunswick line. Yeah, the Montreal he comes just a-flying with another big load of potatoes. Well, it's Bud the Spud from the bright red mud. He's rolling down the highway smiling. Yeah, the Spuds are big on the back of Bud's rig. They're from Prince Edward Island. They're from Prince Edward Island. Yeah, the cop's been looking for that son of a gun. He's been ripping the tire off the 401. They know the name on the truck shines up in the sun. Green Gables. Well, he hits Toronto at 7 o'clock, and the boys gather around the terminal dock just to hear him talk about another big load of potatoes. Yeah, it's Bud the Spud from the bright red mud. He's rolling down the highway smiling. Yeah, the Spuds are big on the back of Bud's rig. They're from Prince Edward Island. They're from Prince Edward Island. Now I know a lot of people from east to west, and they like the taste from the Spuds from the island best, because they stand up to what? The hardest test. Right on the table. So if you see that big truck rolling by, just wave your hands and wink your eye, because that's Bud the Spud from old PEI with another big load of potatoes. Yes, it's Bud the Spud from the bright red mud. He's rolling down the highway smiling, because the Spuds are big on the back of Bud's rig. They're from Prince Edward Island. They're from where? They're from Prince Edward Island.
the buds are falling from Glen to Glen and down the mountainside. On in spring in the you my soul when I must buy.
No, it's just today.
The leather was
Till each tear you cry becomes a rose.
He's getting younger all the time. You want to mess up my hair
So stranger from where you must part. Good night, Irene. I'll see you in my dreams.
Okay. Yeah.
when you got I go to heaven, there will be no police there. Go to sleep, you weary hobo. Let the town slip slowly by.
Here's your story in all its glory, though you've never been one for center stage. Bombs in your backyard, losses taken hard, gone forever, turn the page. Found a broken wing, set it right, made it sing, claimed a calling and a wage. From Montreal to the Maritimes, the mermaids call. You rise, you fall, in Kingston and its music halls. To Vancouver Isle, from the valley to Victoria. In every song there is a note for us that must ring true. And you made a life out of keeping all of us in tune. Part of every song that we create, well, it was made by you. Tinker, sailor, Martin, Taylor, boat or bow the wood will bend. Songwriter, savior, crack neck, failure, fret not my friend, for bridges mend. At your bench nightly, with strings wound tightly, second hand is new again. From Montreal to the Maritimes, the mermaids call. You rise, you fall, in Kingston and its music halls. To Vancouver Isle, from the valley to Victoria. In every song there is a note for us that must ring true. You made a life out of keeping all of us in tune. Part of every song that we create, well, it was made by you. Found your weaver wife, her web a happy life, and still the sea and highway call. From Montreal to the Maritimes, the mermaids call. You rise, you fall, in Kingston and its music halls. To Vancouver Isle, from the valley to Victoria. In every song there is a note for us that must ring true. And you made a life out of keeping all of us in tune. A part of every song that we create, well, it was made by you. Here's your story in all its glory, though you've never been one for center stage.